Okay. I got a good cold open. You ready?
I'm always ready for a good cold open.
This is so dumb. Okay. What is the best leftover food?
Pizza. I enjoy a good cold pizza.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So this was asked on another podcast, and someone said pie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, you almost never eat pie when it's not a leftover.
But then it came to the debate of, is dessert leftover or not? Is it considered a leftover? Like cookies. You make cookies on a day. Are cookies leftover? I broke him.
Does sugar somehow change the way we? Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely never thought of pie being leftover. Yeah, no.
But there is such thing as leftover cake. If you think about it, cake is leftover because it's usually from an event or a birthday or something like that.
That is true.
So is pie leftover? Do you eat pie on certain days?
I feel like we need like a philosopher to tell us the answer to this. This transcends the kitchen and goes into the. Yeah, I have no idea. That fascinating. Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's your brain teaser for today. So in the comments, let us know. 1, what is your favorite leftover? But 2, is dessert, or are there specific desserts that are considered leftover? And like, what is the theory behind leftover dessert? Is it like after an event? Is it just?
I suppose
if you think about it,
element of this is also like, what is a dessert? Because there's obvious things, but then there's also things like fruitcake. That's like, no one. Yeah.
Does anyone eat fruitcake? Here's what's so weird. Sorry, I'm going on a real tangent here. So I'm part of WEBA, which is the Wichita Independent Business Association, or we're part of WEBA. And something that they always serve is carrot cake. Every luncheon, there is carrot cake. And people go crazy over carrot cake. And I can't figure out the fascination of carrot cake.
I've always thought, that Wichita residents just clearly like carrots a lot. So, yeah. Bugs Bunny, famously from Wichita. Just kidding. He's not from Wichita. Well, shall we get this show started?
Let's get this show started.
Welcome to Ask a Kansan,
a podcast amplifying, connecting, and uncovering Kansas.
So today we have a great guest joining us, a local Salina that Cindy and I have both known for a long time in probably different contexts.
Yeah, in very different contexts. I've known Cash for, when we were talking before the episode, and then I don't know, this is probably 10 plus years ago. Yeah. I've known Cash. So we used to work together in a very, very brief capacity, but that's before I knew he was Cash too. So yeah. I just knew him
Cash is
outside
one of these people in Salina who just shows up in surprising places doing all sorts of different things. And one of the people that makes Salina really an interesting place to live. And
he does it very covertly, which is kind of a superpower of his. He's not super out there. He doesn't, he mentions in the podcast, in our conversation, how he is a naturally quiet person. But he does things very covertly and intentionally, that you don't like, you notice him, but it's not like in your face. And I don't know, there's a better way to describe that, but those are the Sydneyisms. So without any further ado, here is Cash Hollistah.
Cash, welcome to Ask a Kansan. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you guys for having me.
So for our audience, would you introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, Cash Hollistah. I am a hip hop artist, poet, DJ, arts advocate. Some people would say community activist, speaker, father of 3.
Who are your coins?
Yes.
Yep, because you're
'Cause I'm
cash and
yeah.
coins.
Yeah.
I'm always going to bring that up because I love it. Born and raised in Kansas?
Yeah, born and raised in Salina. Yep.
Yeah. And where else have you lived?
I've lived in Atlanta. I've also lived in Detroit when I was kind of pursuing music full time. Yeah.
So what's it like pursuing music in Kansas?
Pursuing music in Kansas.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love. I think if you're here for an extended period of time, I think probably for hip hop as a genre, you're not thinking that as far as Kansas. So you try to find ways to stand out creatively and even just marketing and promotion wise. So it's an uphill climb. I'll say that. I guess I said all that to say it's an uphill climb. But I'm always been one that loves challenges. So it's been a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What has been kind of the biggest avenue, or I guess biggest stage that you've been on, to give some context?
South by Southwest. So that's in Austin.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been there a couple times.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone that you usually perform with or hang out with when you go, or?
If you see me around, it's mostly with my DJ Barefoot, from Wichita. So that's usually the guy I'm coming around with. Or if it's not him and I do like a 3-piece, so I have a DJ, so I have Barefoot, and then I'll have a drummer. His name is Augie.
Oh, cool.
So I'll kind of do that. I'm part of a collective called Die Daily out of Oklahoma City. Okay. So I might do some stuff with them, but mostly it's solo or me and Barefoot.
I caught your set at the River Festival this year during the jam, and
Oh yeah.
that was the highest energy I think I've ever seen that crowd. That was awesome.
Yeah. So the band, that's the kickback, and we don't really get a chance to perform a lot. But when we do get together, it's fun. So that was us getting together and just having fun.
Right.
So, yeah.
What got you interested in music?
It was my family. Growing up, my family was really into gospel music. So I have, on my mom's side, all gospel singers. And my dad is a bassist.
Oh,
so
wow.
he used to play for a group called the Champels in like early 70s. I think most people, like if you're older and you're from Salina, you kind of know who they are. Excuse me. Yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And so we grew up singing gospel music, kind of like a Black Partridge Family. We traveled around, different little pockets of Kansas and singing. And then around like 8 or 9, I just was like, I don't like singing. I want to do something different. And so that's kind of when rap sort of came into the picture. I saw Yo MTV Raps, saw my first video from a group called EPMD, and that's kind of what started my journey with rap.
I love that.
How did you get started with rap? Like, what does that mean? Did you just start writing immediately? Did you start performing?
Yeah, because it was like, okay, I'm 9 at the time, so you just kind of think of a 9-year-old. I was like, man, I want to rap. I saw this video. They're rapping in a freezer. It was a song called "You Got to Chill." So they're in Eric Sermon's in a freezer. He's rapping. I'm like, man, this is exactly what I want to do. I didn't know really what to do, but I just started writing. And so my first rap is about Fruit Loops, and I'm 9 again. So I did like a talent show with that Fruit Loops rap, and then I won. And then I just watched as the girls started paying attention. And I was like, this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I want to do. So that's kind of how it started. And then it was a creative writing class that I took in my sophomore year. That sort of made me really take it serious. It was actually Mrs. Parody. Shout out to Miss Parody.
Oh,
she
I love
was,
Mrs. Parody. I had her too.
that was my creative writing teacher, and she kind of showed me the things that I'm learning in English class, like literary devices and stuff, that some of my favorite rappers were using. So
Wow.
similes, metaphors, onomatopoeia, like all my favorite rappers are using these things, and to try to find which one is what. And so that sort of connected the dots for me And I was like, okay, now I'm gonna take this serious. So, and I've always loved words. I was the weird kid that read the dictionary on purpose. You know, and I love lyrics. I love clever lyrics. And so that's all of that is sort of what got me into doing it for real.
What were topic, you know, I want to know what you write about today in your music, and maybe some of the different topics that got you there. Like what have you focused on in your career with your songwriting?
So I guess the first part of that question, I haven't written a lot recently. I think a lot of community events and things that I've been doing outside of music have taken me away from music. So I'm like now just starting to get back into it. But getting into, I guess, early on, it was really just like my faith. So I guess I didn't add context to this. I'm a pastor's kid. So I'm from Salina and I'm a pastor's kid. I know nothing. I'm watching, I guess, you know, MTV Raps. I don't know anything about what's going on the East Coast or West Coast. It's like, all right, I'm here in Kansas. There's no Compton here. There's no New York here. So we don't have that type of life. What in the world can I rap about that's like authentic? Because I've not really held a gun at this time. I'm 9. So like I don't know anything about, you know, street life. I don't know anything about gang life. I'm again in Salina, Kansas. What can I rap about? And so it really just started being about just myself and my life. And faith was is a big part of my life. And so that's kind of where I started taking that and saying, all right, well, I'm a different kid. Why don't I just be authentic and just be, you know, be cool with being different? And it was tough at first because it was something that, again, everybody else is rapping about this stuff, like even in Kansas. But I just felt like, okay, I got to stick to myself. I had to stick to what I know and just be real in that way. Hip hop prides itself on being real. And so I was like, all right, well, yep, this is it. This is really me. So just kind of talking about that, talking about life. I think just from the perspective of a kid or just a Black Christian as well. Just it's very layered. I just over the years I've realized that it's just a layered process to kind of talk to people about, and realizing that there's actually people that identify with it. Like, you know, I think if they don't identify with being a Black Christian, they might identify with the Christian aspect. And yeah, that was just a very, very long-winded way of getting to it.
That was great.
Okay.
And beautiful.
Yeah.
You mind just asking, how'd you come up with your name? How'd you land on that?
Okay, so it was a book of cowboy names that I looked at. I went to the library and I was looking for just a cool name, and I can't even tell you the book now. Like if you were to ask me what the book, I don't know where it was, but I remember looking at this book and just looking at names and came across a Cash Hollistah, ER, who was a U.S. Marshal in Caldwell, Kansas.
Wow.
In like late 1800s, I think 1880 or something like that. And I was like, man, that's a cool name. But at the time, there was an R&B singer named Dave Hollister who was kind of popular. And so I was like, man, I don't want that. So I just took the ER off, added AH. And then I'm, again, a nerd. So like I had everything lowercase and added a period at the end. My favorite poet is E.E. Cummings. So he was always one that would mess with, you know, grammar and punctuation. And so that's what I did for a while. And journalists hated it. So I ended up taking the period off. But yeah, that's kind of how I got the name.
Ask a Kansan is sponsored by Cohort Digital, your partner in media strategy and advertising placement. From social media, search, and streaming video to billboards, magazines, and broadcast TV, the experts at Cohort can help you navigate the ever-changing advertising landscape. With more than 75 years of combined experience, they'll build a custom media campaign to get your message seen in all the right places by your target audience. Learn more at cohort.digital. So Cindy, we've used Cohort for several different projects for Feely, and it's been very successful, and really pleased with the information.
Yep.
Alyssa does a great job.
Yeah, both Feely and Ask a Kansan, we've used both. Basically, we give them the creative, and they really hone in on getting it seen by people. And the best part is you get the results in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got an email from Alyssa and her team yesterday, and it was like, hey, this is what's performing, this is what's not performing, these are the changes we suggest. And like, it's really like they take the work out of the data piece that some people don't really get, and it's great. And
I love like there's a lot of organizations in this space doing this kind of work that are just kind of checking a box. But that's not Cohort. They're always bringing their creativity to the task and surprising us in the ways that they find opportunity for our marketing dollars online.
Yep. So make sure to go to their website, cohort.digital. There's no .com. It's just cohort.digital, and learn more. So we're talking about your family. Mm-hmm. Tell me about Daddy Bud Day.
Oh, Daddy Bud Day. Yeah. So that is a community-wide block party that actually my grandfather started. So my grandfather's name is Daddy Bud. He started that in the late 60s, early 70s. So at the time, there was a pool, the Carver Center pool in Salina, that was segregated at the time. And so normally the black kids would go to that pool, and on July 4th, every July 4th, he would throw a party for free. His job would help him as far as like, just paying for chips and hot dogs and all that stuff. But he would just throw a party at the pool for free. Primarily, for the black community, but everyone was invited. And that became a huge deal, especially to the black community. And then he had passed away in 74. No, I'm sorry, 71. And so the family kept it alive. My dad was a DJ, kept it alive for about 3 more years, and then it stopped. And so I had just been thinking one day, man, I would love to bring that back. Just that idea of like a community block party, because that's what I grew up on too. Just community block parties. The streets would shut down, music would be playing, we'd be playing games and all that stuff. And so I wanted to bring that back. And so about 3 years ago, we did that over at Pacific Park, which we're trying to get changed to Curtis Park after him. But we've been doing that for 3 years, and has seen a lot of great attendance. A lot of people have came out. I think a lot of people just identify with that too. There have been people who have been who were there for the early Daddy Bud Days that
cool.
come too. Wow. And so that's been awesome. And so this year we had about 500 people.
Holy smokes!
In that small park, it was great. So we do the same thing. So bringing food in free, everybody could come and just enjoy. And then my brother John, we do a all-star game. That's probably the difference, a basketball all-star game. So we bring, a few of our friends and have a good time there on the court. So it's I've been amazed at how the communities came together. So like shout out to Chief Wise at Salina Police Department. He basically volunteered to, this year to cook all the hamburgers and hot dogs. So he was there, and other businesses have just like, they came either with monetary donations or with food and helped out. So it's been the easiest event really to put together for me. I think probably in my career. Yeah.
What other events have you been involved in?
So for me, I've done quite a few events. I think when I came back, so I lived in Atlanta for a while, in about, 2004, 2008, I came back, and I started, for me, like doing events is sort of like my release. Mm-hmm. And so when I get bored, I'm like, all right, man, I want to do something. So the first thing I started doing was rap battles. There's a spot called the Blue Goat, and that's where I would start. That was like my first big thing as far as events and stuff. And so I did that for about 1.5 years. And then from there, I was like, okay, what else can I do? And I was really big into poetry at the time, and so I went to Ad Astra Books coffee house and started a poetry series, and that was called One Mic, and that went really, really well from 2012 to 2016, and did some things here and there like block parties, dance parties, but the most recent thing is R&B vibes.
Yep.
So that I did that most of last year in 2023 as well. And so that's just anybody that's just fans of R&B music. That's all we play, R&B only. And so we just went through a bunch of eras. The way R&B vibes are set up is that R&B that hits all five senses. So we had a couple of artists that would come in and paint live during during the event. So we had that. I had a cook there. Shout out to Kanisha. She would come. Excuse me. She would come and she would cook some good meals and some good stuff. And then we had the DJs. You know, me and a few of my DJ friends. We'd be playing, and that was kind of like that's been the most recent thing that I've done. And just all the events that I try to do, it's really to provide a feeling and to give a taste of something that you wouldn't necessarily think Kansas would have. Like like R&B vibes, a lot of times that I've heard, the compliments that I've heard from people have been, man, this feels like New York, or this feels like Atlanta. This feels like something that I would go to if I was in, or Dallas or something like that. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's a compliment, because it's like, we're never going to be Dallas. We're in Salina. It's never going to be Dallas. It's never going to be New York. But we can take pieces of that and bring that here. And so that's always been my mindset when it's come to doing events, things of that nature. Just taking things that you would see if you were to travel, and then just bringing that and just throwing a little Kansas twist on it.
I love that. So my husband, I was telling him last night that you were going to be on, and he goes, well, how long into the episode before you bring up our wedding? I go, well, I don't know. I guess we'll see. So you do DJ'd our wedding, and I loved that when we were talking, one of the questions you asked me is, why are you asking me? What I wish I could remember the verbiage. I should have looked it up, but you were basically asking, why me? What's the difference between me and some other wedding DJ you can get? And the reason I wanted you is because you do bring that vibe. Mm-hmm. And my husband's family is all from Texas, from South Texas. Mm-hmm. So the music that my husband and his family and his friends listen to, I have never heard of in my life. And so I needed someone who could basically bring, my very Kansas family and his very Southern Texas family together. And you did that beautifully.
Thank you.
To where they I think it was 10, 11 o'clock at night, and there's at least probably still 30 people there, and I was amazed that everyone lasted that long. But you do bring that vibe of when you do events of really you can read a room. You're really good at it. You understand what people are feeling in that moment. Okay, it's time to bring it down a little bit. Yeah. Okay, let's bring back the excitement. So you're really good at that. Is that something that comes naturally to you, or is that something you've developed over time?
I think it's a combination of both. I think most people are surprised to find out that I'm not a talker. I'm really quiet, and I'm really observant. So being observant consists of reading the room frequently. And so being a DJ as well, that's also part of the job, is to read the room. You can play your own stuff, but that's the fastest way to clear a floor if you're just focused on you. So being able to read the room, read the crowd, kind of see where things are, that's been a skill that's been developed over time, but it is something that I've just naturally picked up on, to see, okay, well, this is probably the perfect time to throw this. And then if I got them, then sometimes I like to do what I call curveballs. So to throw little blends or maybe a mashup, some songs that you didn't think would work. But I throw it there just to kind of see reactions too. And then from there, it's like, okay, I got you. So now I'm going to keep that. So,
Love that.
yeah.
You've talked about your music, your community involvement, your faith. What is the common denominator there? Like, are these things related for you? You know, as you're in an event, you know, yeah. What is the point where all these things meet?
The intersection of all those, I would say, it really just depends on the event, or it depends on the occasion. I would say sometimes it'd be two things that'll probably go together. So that would be like if it's community, if it's faith, and it's like a church event or something like a faith-based event. That's where I kind of lean on. Excuse me. That's where I kind of lean on with that. If it's something else, if it's more like R&B vibes or something like that, then it's more curation and excellence. That's those things. So it's multi-layered. Like I said, life is layered.
Yeah.
It's very multi-layered. It's a lot of intersections. So I don't know. I think just to be creative that is in multiple disciplines, it takes a balance. It takes dexterity to navigate in the different worlds, especially in Kansas, where a lot of times excellence is not necessarily a trait people think about or focus on. And so for me, and just my mindset sort of being different, it was, and I've been privileged enough to be around people that are like, household names or famous people, and I've watched how they work. And it's like one of the common denominators of all of them is excellence. It's like, be as good as you can be. And so for me, that's sort of like my drive in the things that I create, in the music that I make, and in any aspect of what I do. I try to just be excellent at everything. Like, strive for perfection, settle for excellence. I figure it's a good cushion to sit on, is excellence.
This episode is sponsored by Renaissance Cafe. Serving Northern Italian cuisine prepared with a fresh, contemporary influence, the Renaissance Cafe is one of Kansas's favorite restaurants. Whether you're planning a romantic dinner date, a family celebration, or an intimate meal with friends, the Renaissance provides a unique dining experience with an old-world atmosphere. Open Thursday through Saturday evenings, the Renaissance Cafe is located just south of Salina in Assyria, Kansas. Visit renaissancecafeassyria.com to book your reservation today. You've had a really cool impact with your scholarship. Could you talk a little bit about the scholarship?
Yeah. So the Cash Hollistah scholarship, that's courtesy of Ad Astra Books and Coffee House. Shout out to Tammy. They had surprised me. I had ended One Mic 2016. I ended my time. It lasted for a couple more years, but when I had stepped down from One Mic in 2016, Tammy and Brad Anderson surprised me with a grant, or not a grant, but a scholarship. And I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. And so the scholarship is in my name, and it deals with any, kid that is sort of an anomaly like me, that's very creative, that wants to pursue art. And it's not just performing arts, it's visual arts, it's graphic design, any sort of art discipline. And whoever balances that with art and community, it could be their community, they can apply. And so for the past, about the past 8 years, it's been amazing to see the scholarship winners that we had. We had a really great scholarship winner this year. Shout out to William Bohr, who's in Wichita State this year.
Oh, wow.
So very super talented. And so it's been awesome to just be a part of that. And, a few years ago, I decided to match it, what they gave. And so,
Awesome.
just to help out. So I'm grateful to have a scholarship in my name, but then just also to be able to just help another kid on their journey.
Man, that's great.
It's amazing. I have a very Sydney question.
Oh,
Is
boy.
what we'll call this.
Okay.
Prepare yourself.
Who's the most famous person in your phone right now?
The most famous person in my phone. Okay. The most famous person in my phone that like I kind of sort of talk to. I don't know. I think if you're a hip hop head, you probably know who this is. But Just Blaze. It's
Yeah,
a
I got
producer.
nothing for you.
So that's probably
Okay.
yeah.
Where's he from?
From New York.
Okay.
So like if you've listened to like Jay-Z records or anything of that nature, like Rockefeller, that type of stuff, like that's like one of my favorite producers. So like I got his number and I'm just gonna hold on to it. It doesn't even work. Probably doesn't work. But just so I could say, man, at one point I had conversations with Just Blaze. You know.
Cool. That's a very Sydney watches too much TV question.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us?
So what? I guess a question for Gus.
I love
what is your creative process when it comes to doing film?
Oh man, I was not prepared for this.
That's the point.
You know, I'd say we do a lot of work here at Feely for clients, and there I'd say our strategy is planning up front, you know, talking with them about what they need and then going after it. But you know, we've made a short film or two, and we're working on a documentary about the River Festival here in Salina, and yeah, that documentary has been a very humbling experience, to be honest with
Very.
you. You know, learning about all that goes into making a feature film and trying to capture a really complex thing in the right way.
Yeah.
And we're still navigating those waters today. But I would say, at least from a documentary standpoint, it has been not letting myself get in the way of the story. Like, it's not what I want the story to be. It's about what the story is, what it's already there, and letting that breathe. Yeah, you know, I think Salina is such a great place for people that want to create stuff.
Yes.
And one of the reasons is because people are always asking you to do things that are over the horizon. You know, it's a stretch for whatever reason. And yeah, I love that about this place.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think despite the faces that I get from my friends from other states and other places, why like I'm still here. Salina gives the creatives, anybody's creative, the freedom to try something. The freedom to try what you're wanting to do that you may not necessarily, you might get a chance to do it in bigger cities. But that threshold of failing is probably smaller in the bigger cities. Whereas opposed to here, you can try, you know, whatever. I've, you know, been blessed to be able to do these multiple things, multiple events, stuff like that. I would have never thought that I could throw rap battles and a poetry event and an R&B event and an art exhibit. Like, to do all of those things in one place, I think is virtually unheard of. But here. And so, you know, as much as certain sections of the town would like to maybe not speak highly of Salina, for me, it's, as a creative, I'm grateful for the time that I've had here, to be able to just do essentially what I want, and to have an audience that wants that, to get clients, you know, like Sydney, and that it's like it's out of their realm of expertise. It's like they see something, but they need somebody to articulate this in a certain way. So even something as, you know, that could be seemingly inane as DJing, but you're creating a mood, you're curating a mood. And so that's the same thing, you know, telling, like, your mission, telling stories that matter. That's what essentially that I try to do, you know, just even with music or DJing, just like setting a vibe, setting mood. Here's the story of R&B. Here's the story of like an art exhibit. So like I was able to do an art exhibit at Kansas Wesleyan a few years ago called "We Are the Culture." So it's kind of talking about how Black American culture is kind of the secret sauce for everything, like everything. Like if you just from clothing to food to music to sports, the secret sauce for all of that is Black American culture. And so the name of the exhibit was called "We Are the Culture." And so to show people, hey, here are the people that contribute to this. These are the ways in which, we've contributed to the culture. We're the backbone. And so to show that, that's telling a story. So to be able to do those things has been really, really beneficial. So I understand that, being able to just tell the stories and tell it in a way that I think can be impactful. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But at least I've done my job. So.
Your diversity of different things that you do, you show up in so many different things in Salina. I'm curious, what do you dream about? Like, what would you love to see happen? Either, you can take this any direction you want, be it, in your music, it could be in the community, in Kansas, in rap.
So selfishly, my dream would be to take Scarlett Johansson away from Colin. Selfish.
That is a weird mix.
That's,
don't you think?
yeah. But as far as, I think just musically, I love performing. I love being able to just perform in front of like big crowds. So festivals are my jam. So like I would love to on that front, like just be able just to perform at festivals for like the rest of my life. That'd be great. As far as, the community, as far as like maybe Salina, ultimately, with what we're trying to do with Pacific Park and trying to turn that into Curtis Park, I want that to serve as a beacon for the north end of Salina. North Salina sort of gets a bad rap. Some of it is justified. A lot of it is not. And so I want to help be a catalyst for change on the north end. I would love to see more, development, on the north end. And so to be able to get to a place financially to help start making that happen. Not gentrification, but accentuating what's already there. Tapping into sources and being an inspiration for kids on the north side, because I'm from the north side of Salina. And so I know what it's like to be not really thought about. But I came from that and have been able to do a lot of things. And so a lot of that I attribute to being on the north end of town. And so to take that park and make it mean something, as a place for kids to just get away, even, to go play. There's a basketball court there. There's a playground that needs to be renovated. But I want kids to feel like how I felt growing up on the north end. And so that's something that I would love to be a part of as far as community. And then just, I think as a father, just to continue raising the girls, to just be good, decent, God-fearing women, and to not disappoint their dad.
Love that.
Well, thanks, Cash.
Yeah.
I think this was a really great conversation, and I hope to have you on again in the future. And
Yeah.
catch up. And
Yeah. If I actually drop a project, I like to come and promote it. So
do you have a listening party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. Yeah.
I mean, Hannah Holt's having one for Taylor Swift. I don't know why we can't have one for Cash.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I really want to go to that, but I don't know if I can stay up that late.
That's gonna be fun. I'm
Can you
DJing
really
for that.
spur us at a
I'm DJing for
reasonable
that. Yeah.
time?
Nice.
Yeah.
At
Nice.
like 8 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have, I would do that. I think it's so funny just being able to do that, like growing up, it's like, yeah, we were going to be out till 12. And now like I do events and a lot of people are like, how early are you starting? Like, okay, yeah, we'll start at 8 or we'll start at 7. Yeah, it's fine. So.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, thanks,
that's it.
Cash.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks. Want to spread your organization's message across Kansas? Consider becoming a sponsor. Ask a Kansan has a unique focus on Kansas and its people. By sponsoring our podcast, your organization can reach people from Canaredo to Kansas City, Wichita to Washington, and all the great places in between. We have a variety of sponsorship packages available to fit your budget and needs. For more information, visit askakansan.com/sponsorships or call us at 785-571-9507.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Cash. I sometimes don't realize how involved someone is until we're talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, there's a whole bunch of things we never even talked with him about that he's involved in, like the Kansas Music Hall of Fame.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't even finish the conversation with him.
Yeah, there's definitely more context to everything that he does. He's actually very heavily involved in the Smoky Hill River Festival here, and he is part of the music committee and very involved in getting a variety of artists that we probably would never have without Cash's influence. So he's done a lot. As I mentioned in the intro, he's one of those people that just does things very covertly and not. I don't know how to explain it. He's so mellow and likable, and
that's in contrast to his stage like persona.
Yeah,
that's what you'd expect from a rapper DJ.
Yeah,
it's really great at what he does. So yeah, so glad he came on.
Same.
I have two things today.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I was watching a YouTube video describing the winter that we can expect across the U.S., but especially here in Kansas. And he wasn't. I was paying attention to Kansas is what I meant in his forecast. So I would like you to pick between the following three options of what you think our winter will be like. Option number 1 is warmer and drier than normal.
Okay.
Option number 2 is cooler and slightly wetter than normal. And option 3 is about 3 polar vortices that will dump ridiculous amounts of snow and, negative 10, 20 degree temperatures on us. So which of those 3?
I'm going to go the middle one. We've had a lot of snow and it's been pretty cold in the past couple years.
So what if I told you that the actual answer is all 3?
Yeah, that's the Kansas answer I wanted to give. But I was trying to play with the game.
Yeah. I mean, this guy was talking about the winter for all of the U.S. But so he was like, yeah, the northern states can expect a slightly cooler, wetter winter. The southern states can expect a slightly warmer, drier winter, and then there'll be these polar vortices that just come in. But in every single thing, Kansas was included in all thing. Of it. So I think it's going to be another simultaneously brutal and
Well, considering what is it, the beginning of September that we're recording this, yesterday I had golf ball size hail in my front yard. My poor car ripped my siding. So yeah, I believe it. I don't remember there ever being hail in September. I don't know if that's a normal thing. I usually put hail with like springtime, not necessarily fall.
My grandmother's house was destroyed by a tornado in November.
What?
And if I guess November is like the 3rd or 4th most common month for severe weather.
I
in
did
Kansas.
not know that.
We'll have Tanner check me on
Yeah,
all of my
Tanner,
meteorological.
I need you to fact check us.
But I believe I've heard that. So my other thing, and okay, I'm gonna need just a second because I gotta look up the name of the movie that I saw.
I did see a new movie recently. It was what's the unicorn one? With is it Jason Sudeikis? Hold on.
I am
not Jason Sudeikis or Jason Segel. Jason Sudeikis. Why can I not talk? Not Jason Sudeikis. It's the dead unicorn one. Who's the other guy from Kansas? Who's Ant-Man?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Hold on. It was a weird. Yeah, here we go. Death of a Unicorn.
Okay, I've heard of this.
So we're only bringing this up because Paul Rudd is from Kansas City area. Anyway, that's the connection to Kansas here. Bear with us. So Death of a Unicorn. It's a horror / comedy.
Okay.
And
Popular these days.
yeah, it was definitely a Sydney pick on Milton and I's movie night. He picks very different movies than I do, and he trudged through it with me. I thought it was hilarious. My husband was like, that was an experience. So it's on HBO, I think, that you can find it. So check it out. I really liked it just because it was very out there.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they accidentally, not to give everything away, but they hit a unicorn with their car, and a lot of weird, messed up things happen in the process of that. Yeah.
I think I can see how that might be.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the movie that I was going to talk about
Yes.
is Everything is Going to Be All Right.
Oh.
It's a Bryan Cranston film. I'm not sure how recently it came out. So I think a few episodes ago, I talked about the new Superman movie and how it depicts Kansas. And there was, just to recap that briefly, like in the Superman movie, he suffers a defeat and he comes back to Kansas to rejuvenate. And they give Kansans these terrible accents. But the good thing is that it was kind of the moral center of the film. And then Superman emerged from Kansas to go back and fight and be rejuvenated and everything. This movie, I'm not so positive about. They went to Kansas because their life fell apart and no one was happy to be here. Nothing positive really happened here. It wasn't filmed here. It was filmed in a place with lots of big pine trees. And they mentioned the several national parks and national forests we have in Kansas, which does not exist. So
I just don't understand why people just can't Google.
Yeah. I remember watching Smallville, and which is supposedly set in Kansas, and there's mountains in the background of many shots. So yeah, it's just these little frustrations that I have to share the burden of because I can't handle it on my own. But I also think we as Kansans have to communicate with the world the beauty that is here, so that it gets better represented in culture. So that's why I continue to bring it up. So sorry.
Producers everywhere, just take a quick Google.
Yeah, come visit.
Come
we'll
visit.
show you some great places.
They're cheap flights out of Chicago, LA.
Yeah, come on.
Whatever. That really makes me mad.
Okay.
So I do have a story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So for many who know, I live in McPherson. McPherson has a population of roughly 14,000 as of the 2020 census. And McPherson is like 14,000. Technically, that is a small town. Mm-hmm. But like Kansas wise, it's relatively big. Like it's not huge like Wichita or Salina. It's a solid medium compared to some other little towns that we have. But here's the best part of having a tiny town. So my mom came up a couple weeks ago. She had a meeting in McPherson. She goes, "Hey, we'll take you out to dinner." Granted, it was like 4:45, but it's fine. We'll go to dinner at 4:45. So we asked Madeline, my daughter, "Where do you want to eat?" And she always says McDonald's, mainly because I never take her there and she loves the play place. So we went to McDonald's. So we show up at McDonald's. There's probably like one other family in the play place area. And the McPherson McDonald's has a legit like play place with all the seating like we grew up in the 90s, how they used to be. And so we're sitting there, Mom and I are chatting. She's playing. She made friends with the other little girl that was in there, whatever. They're having the time of their life. And then another family come in, and I recognize them, and it's a family from daycare. And their, I think daughter, they had 2 kids there. Yeah, their daughter's in Madeline's class, or at least Madeline knows her. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. And then out of nowhere, another family comes in, and it is we call them the twins, Jen and Eleanor. But they are Madeline's like super best friends. They dance together. They've been in the same preschool class. I'm really good friends with their mom. And like they just randomly come in only because Sarah was like, I really didn't feel like cooking, and this was a good relaxation place for me. I'm like, I get it. Like, that's fine. I think her husband was traveling at the time. So it's just funny how none of us planned to be there. None of us. And I think one more family did come in that went to school at Kids Campus. And so there's literally like a whole group of like 5 or 6 kids that all know each other. We just all randomly showed up at McDonald's on the same Monday. No one goes out to eat on a Monday. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we closed that place down. Like Madeline and my mom eventually left. She had to go back to Salina. And Sarah and her girls, we literally closed that place down. It was probably at least 7:30, 8 o'clock by the time, well, maybe not that late, maybe at least 6:30. Cause we were there at 4:45. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just one of those small towns things that you don't really get anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those kind of realization type of like, you really can't get that anywhere else. Yeah. And then this leads me to my people of Kansas moment too. So we had a really great McDonald's visit. So our McDonald's in McPherson, it has don't know if this is like this anywhere else. I only go to the McDonald's in McPherson, so sue me. Where it has the like giant screens that you can order food from rather than going up front. So I did that. Madeline likes pressing the buttons, whatever. She goes to play and I'm sitting there waiting for food and I get my food and they always forget the cups. I don't know why the McDonald's McPherson never gives me cups, but they never do. And so I'm waiting for the cups. I'm trying to get someone's attention because no one's up front. And this guy comes up and he's wearing a high vis vest. Like he's obviously kind of the cleaning guy. He was emptying trash and I think he had some learning disabilities. Like sweetest man on the face of the planet, and he's trying to help me get cups, and you could tell that he's never really done that before, but he was trying because he saw that I needed cups, and so he got me my cups. And we went and played, and then later when we were leaving, Madeline dropped her toy, and of course the toy landed in the middle of my car underneath my car. And it had been raining. And so I'm like, of course the ground is wet. She's already obsessed with this toy because they've been playing with them for the last hour and a half. I can't leave without the toy. And so he just happened to be walking outside. He goes, oh, I'll get it. So he crawls down on the ground and gets my daughter's toy from underneath. And it was just the most like, he was totally fine being giving, being a person, and he didn't have to. Like that's the thing. He didn't have to. Wasn't his job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But anyway,
I love watching people show up for each other like that. Wow.
I was gonna crawl on the ground, but I was gonna let him because he was really gung ho for it. I
have another kind of similar story. Hannah and I were on a vacation, and we actually flew through Salina, which we haven't done a ton. Yeah. And it's a very small airport, of course. Yeah. We don't have, we have, I think, 3 flights a day, which seems like a lot now, but it's still a terminal that was probably built in the 60s or maybe even earlier. So we flew in, I want to say it was a Saturday night, flew in like 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. And as we're like taxiing to the parking spot before we get out to walk across the tarmac into the terminal, like there's some people behind us and they're looking out the window, and I hear a little kid's voice saying, Grandpa, and like pointing at the window. And her grandpa and I don't know, another guy were standing on the other side of the fence, like just watching the plane park. I just thought that was such a small town thing. And so then we went, got in the terminal, and then there was this group of people with big welcome home banners. And then there was, tearful reunion that happened there. We go and we get our bags, and then I start hearing somebody singing happy birthday, and there was a happy birthday celebration going on. And then we saw a couple, and the woman was holding this big, humongous bouquet of flowers, and her husband was just,
Yeah.
glad to have her home. And it was just like portraits into 3 or 4 different lives and families. And I'm sure that happens at every airport, but it's something else to see it.
It's very different when the airport is small, when you can literally like watch the plane land from outside the fence.
Yeah.
Walk another, 20 yards or so, go into the building, and boom, they're right there. Yep. Like, it's a very different experience than a giant airport where you would have to go through security and all that jazz. You still have to go through security at the Salina airport. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like,
no, I
yeah,
agree.
you can literally watch it from inside the airport.
It felt like just such a warm embrace of a community. Yeah. Like, it was a great thing coming back. Just one other quick story I have to tell. The only other time in recent years that we flew through Salina, we got in, it was like, January at like 10:30 at night, and it was sleeting outside. Oof. And like negative 10 degrees, so it wasn't sleeting. It was like, I don't know.
It was cold and it was dreary.
Super cold. And I ran into Alicia in our office. Her dad was there, and he was picking up a scientist that was there to work with him at his place of employment. And this woman, this was the first time she had ever been to the United States.
Oh.
And this was the first time she'd left the airport in the United States, was at the Salina Regional Airport.
That's an experience.
Yeah, and precipitation and super cold temperatures. And it's like, wow, that's a very unique way to experience America for the first time. So, well, we've gone on quite a while. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so. I probably have a lot. I have a lot of TikTok saved. We'll have a TikTok day someday.
Cool. Well, we have a lot of episodes we're filming in the next couple of weeks. So,
yeah.
And some super exciting guests. Maybe we'll tease a few more of those.
If you love band or music or marching
or baseball,
what other ones? Or want to learn more about Native American culture or special education.
Got some great
We've
stuff
got some really good conversations coming up. They're giggling in the control room. But so make sure to like, subscribe, share.
If you would be so kind as to tell one other person about the podcast, that would make such a big difference to us.
And so we will see, hear, talk to y'all later.
Thanks so much.